Hello everybody. Today is going to be a fairly short video. We're going to cover text processing and text processing in Python, chapter 12. Here are learning objectives, a little bit of introduction, and then character by character text processing, and then I'm going to show you how to do that in Python. Okay, here are all of the library functions that we can use to work with our strings. So the first one, that's the one that we covered probably the most, length. So most of the languages will have some sort of library functions that will let you to use it to return the number of characters that are in the string. So as you can see here, we have an example. For example, length on this string test would return 4 because there are 4 characters in this string. Now, the next one is called append, and you will need 2 strings to do this. And this function append will return you a string that is created by taking the string 2 and putting it at the end of string 1. So how it would look like here, another example, we have 2 strings and we're using append on hello and world, and it would return to you a string called hello world. Now, the other two upper and 2 lower, they do exactly what the name stands for. 2 upper will return to you all uppercase copy of the string that you input, and 2 lower would return to you full lowercase on your string that you input. A substring is a very useful one. A substring will return to you, so there are 3 inputs, a string, then start, and an end. So what substring does, it's going to take the string that you input and is going to take a piece of that string with the character starting at the position where you provide with the start value, and that's going to end with the position that you provide with the end value. But remember that the first character in each string will start at the position 0, not 1. The same thing with the arrays, 0, not 1. And example right here, expression substring Kevin 2 and 4 will return to you the string win. And you might think, why would we return that? Well, because look right here. Remember that we started 0. So let's start 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, you would think that maybe it would return Eve win, but no, since we started 0, it's just going to return win because we start at 2, and our 2 would be exactly where the V letter is located, and it's going to be up to 4. So VIN, that's the string that we're going to get if we run the substring function on this string Kevin. Now, contains, also very simple one. Contains either returns true or false, so it is a Boolean function, and it's just going to return true only if the first string that we provided contains the second string that we provided. Otherwise, it will just return false for you. Now, here's an example. We're asking if smiley contains smile, which it does, so it will return true. However, if we run contains on smiley and xyz, it will return false because xyz is not part of the function smiley. Most languages will provide you a way to access individual characters in your string. And often this is done with subscript notation, and it's the same way as you would access an element of the array or a list in Python. As you can see here in the pseudocode, we're declaring a string called greeting, and it's called hello world, and then we want to display greeting first element of the array. Remember, it starts at 0, so the first element would be H. So this would display an H for us. Just one character, just the first character H. Here's another example for you. We have a string that contains Jacob, and then we're just displaying each character one by one, and this would be the output right here, JACOB. Sometimes this technique will also allow you to modify each single character in your string. You can see here we're declaring a string that contains coffee, and then we're taking the first element and we're switching it to T. So instead of coffee, our new string will be toffee. So very useful sometimes for you to use this technique in certain situations. Now, these are important to know. These are the most common character testing functions. So, pretty simple. IsDigit and whatever character you want to test will return true if your character is a numeric digit, and false if it's not a number. Now, isLetter will return true if your character is an alphabetic letter, or false otherwise. Now, isLower will return true if the character is lowercase, and false otherwise. IsUpper will return true if character is an uppercase letter, and isWhitespace will return true if the character is a white space. Otherwise, it will return false. So just remember with the names, and if you remember the names, it's pretty straightforward. What this function does is in the name of that same function. You just have to know that these all exist. Some languages will let you insert and delete certain parts of your strings. Now, insert function, you need three parameters: string 1, position, and string 2. While string 1, if it's a string, position is going to be an integer from where you want your second string to be inserted to. So this function, as I said, will insert your string 2, the second string that you provide to this function, into the position that's provided with the integer position into the string 1. So as you can see here, declare string a new city, and then we want to insert York into the fourth position of our string. As you can see here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's gonna insert a New York before city. This is where it's gonna insert, right before the fourth element. So this is what it would look like, New York City. Now, another thing is delete works almost the same way. We have our string, we have where we want it to start, where we want it to end. Works almost the same way as a substring, but instead of just separating, while substring just separates that piece of string that we want, delete will completely delete that part of a string and it will get rid of it. And let me show you an example right here. As you can see, we have a string, I ate 1,000 blueberries, and we want to delete from 8 to 9. And what that's gonna be, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what we're gonna delete 8 and 9 characters, so 8 and 9 characters, and what we're gonna end up with, I ate 10 blueberries. Now let's focus on Python. So in Python, you can access individual characters in a string the same way that I showed you, the same way as we would access an element in an array in Python. So we have our name equals Jacob, print name, square brackets, the number of the subscript of the our string character that we want to display. So it will display J, just this. Now, strings are immutable in Python, so that means that you cannot change an individual character with a string. Remember how I showed you when we changed coffee to toffee? That is not possible in Python, and if you try that right here, this will cause an error. You just have to remember that. Here are all of the character testing methods that are available for your usage in Python. Num will return true if the string contains only alphabetic letters or digits and at least one character in length. Otherwise, it will return false. Alpha will return true if your string contains only letters, only alphabetic letters, and at least one character in length. Returns false otherwise. Digit will return true if your string contains only numbers and at least one character in length, and it's going to return false otherwise. Again, isLower will return true if all of the alphabetic letters are lowercase. Space will return if the strings contains only white space characters, and isUpper will return true if all of the alphabetic letters in the string are uppercase. Only in that way, otherwise false. Here are some examples. You can see here we have a string ABC, and if we call myString.isUpper, that's going to return true because all of our characters are uppercase. Now, if we run a specific character check. So as you can see here, this is how you would run a character check. My underscore string, and then square brackets and the subscript of the character that you want to check. And then again, the same thing. Dot is upper. This will also return true because our first character is uppercase. And if we run is alpha, this will also return true because all of our characters are alphabetic letters in this string. So pretty simple. So yeah, this is all I had for chapter 12. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.